This already smells so good. This is that holiday vegetable hash that I picked up from Trader Joe's the other day. I'm just sauteing it, and that's what I'm gonna have for breakfast today. It smells so good. I cannot wait to eat this. Good morning, happy Vlogmas. Actually, you know what? We are well into the afternoon at this point. I'm having a lazy day. As you can see, I'm still in my pajamas. My breakfast could easily be considered lunch due to what time it is. It's just one of those days. So the weather is just kind of crummy today. The past few nights, I have not slept well at all. So I've decided I'm staying home and I'm staying comfortable, and I'll clean up here and there, but mostly I'm just taking a me day and relaxing. And it's the perfect time to do so, because on HBO Max, there's that show called The Flight Attendant. And since I am a flight attendant, I absolutely need to get caught up on this. I'm already so far behind. And I did start reading the book. I haven't finished it. I really couldn't get into it, but I hear the show is really, really good. So I am gonna watch The Flight Attendant, and then I'm gonna let you know, is it realistic? Is that really what it's like to be a flight attendant? How far-fetched is this? I'm just gonna review it from a flight attendant perspective and lounge on my couch and get Vlogmas done, and I'll just be killing two birds with one stone. It'll be the most productive, unproductive day ever. And before we watch, I'm actually gonna make myself a cup of coffee. Since I'm pregnant, I've only been having decaf coffee, so it just doesn't matter what time of the day I choose to make it for myself. And while my coffee brews, I want to show you, my dad made some biscotti yesterday. He made the pinoli one, the pine nut one, and some sesame biscotti. They're mini-sized biscotti, so they're perfect. And that's what I'm going to enjoy with my coffee while watching TV. Not even past the opening credits, and I want to say that I'm shocked by the amount of alcohol that I see in the opening credits. However, I will say there are a lot of highly functioning alcoholic flight attendants, and I think there's a few reasons for this. One, we basically get paid vacations, right? Our layovers, the hotels included. We meet up with the crew in the hotel bar because we don't know anyone else in these cities that we're flying to. And the odds of us working with the same crew again as commercial flight attendants are not very high. So you can kind of tie one on and not worry what the person who you're drinking with thinks about you. And then there are the flight attendants that drink. There's a really dark side to being a flight attendant. Again, we are away from our families, away from our home, away from our friends and our pets and our kids and like everything that's special to you. And it can be depressing. It can be very lonely. And a lot of flight attendants are just not in the best headspace mentally, and they drink as a way to escape. So I want to say instantly, like, oh, they just portray flight attendants as alcoholics in the opening credits. Like, what is the show going to be like? But unfortunately, there is a really dark side to being a flight attendant, and a lot of stews who I have flown with or I have known have fallen into these traps. I do know plenty of flight attendants who have been fired for showing up late because they were hungover or completely missing a call time. I know flight attendants who have gone to rehab, either because they wanted to or because the company forced them to because they were having attendance and performance issues. So far, it's actually pretty realistic. It's very realistic to have people waiting on you to see what time you're gonna show up to the airport when you're a flight attendant. Because if you're not early, you're late. And if you're on time, you're late. You always gotta be early to those flights. All right, Lola and I are done watching episode 1, and I was gonna start episode 2 instantly and then do a whole recap after episode 2, but I do have things to do around the house, so I wanna make sure that I get you my episode 1 recap. Of course, I took notes on it. So let's get into it. Okay, first off, the Mile High Club. Ugh, I've mentioned this before. It's so disgusting. I don't think many flight attendants are willing to risk their job or just willing to be able to know how filthy the airplane lavatories are and commit that act. However, I do know there are plenty of flight attendants who are willing to save that stuff for their layovers. So that part of the show is not that far-fetched. It definitely happens. I liked the part where Cass was avoiding the crew in the hotel lobby. I have done that before when I was a commercial flight attendant, and you kind of feel a sense of guilt. You don't really know the crew, you're in a new city together and you want to bond, but sometimes you as a flight attendant have friends or family in a different city and you want to spend your layover with your friends and with your family, and then you feel guilty for not inviting the other crew along. So I totally understand avoiding a crew in a hotel lobby on a layover. And speaking of this layover, should we talk about how unsafe her behavior was? All of that drinking, I mean, not only her behavior. Look at Alex. It was unsafe for all of the parties involved. If I ever left the hotel and met up with friends or just did my own thing, like if I would go for a run or go shopping on my own, I would always let the crew know where I was going and when to expect me back. You can't just go out in a foreign city and start pounding drinks the way that they did. Clearly, bad things happen. This is a little side note. I love Rosie Perez. She's fabulous in this. And I love how she says, come on, we have to go. And then she realizes Cass isn't dressed and she's like, okay, never mind. I'm not missing the hotel van again. It's so true. No flight attendant left behind unless you're gonna get a tardy on your record, because crew scheduling takes those things very, very seriously. No one wants that to happen. Okay, so we finally see Cass on the plane. She has made her way out of Bangkok and she's giving herself a pep talk in the lab. But why is she touching her face so much after being in the lab? It's disgusting to me. I know that's not the point of what's going on in the show, but that's all I could think about. Like, did you wash your hands after you touched that door handle? Yuck. All right, I had to get myself situated for this one. So housekeeping goes in to check on the guest. This reminds me of a layover I had. I'm not gonna say where, but the flight crew gets in to the hotel. And our most senior flight attendant was like, hey, you guys, we're gonna do room checks together. And so that means one flight attendant will either escort you in the room or stand outside the door while you're checking under the bed, behind the shower curtain, in the closet, just to make sure no one is hiding in your room. And I am a big fan of hotel room checks, just because I'm not a big fan of being a victim, if you know what I mean. So I'm used to doing these hotel checks. And I was like, hey, great idea. This is the best practice. Like, we should always do it. And she said the reason that they did hotel checks in this particular hotel every single time she had a layover there was because she was on a crew and one of the crew members went into the hotel room and said, oh my God, there's a man sleeping in here. She shut the door, went back downstairs and told the front desk. Well, the front desk said, no, Mr. blah, blah, blah checked out of the room earlier. And she said, okay, well, I need security to come up with me. I open the door and there's a man laying in the bed. So security goes up with this flight attendant, opens the door, and sure as you know what, there is someone laying in the bed because he's dead. This guest definitely checked out, if you know what I mean. He wasn't a threat to her, but can you imagine walking into a hotel room and finding a dead man in your bed? And disclaimer, he wasn't murdered. His throat wasn't slashed like what I am watching on TV right now. It appeared there was no foul play. I mean, who knows? We didn't follow up with anything, but it just looked like a guy went to bed and never woke up, and this flight attendant walked in on him. The next point I have written down is those vodkas that she has been downing on her layovers, those little minis. Those certainly didn't come from the mini bar. Those came off of an airplane. If you know, you know. And then the last thing I wrote down about episode 1 is a quote, and it says, it's a lot of first dates. And dating is hard when you're a flight attendant. You're never in the same place. You're never with the same people. Relationships at home fall apart because, again, you're not there as often as you would be if you had a Monday through Friday 9-to-5 job. So I found that quote to be very, very relatable. All right, so now I am well into mid-afternoon, and after thinking about it, I'm gonna start doing some of my chores before I continue watching more episodes of The Flight Attendant and doing my little check-ins with you guys. Actually, I'm gonna make lunch first because breakfast just didn't seem substantial enough. So I'm probably gonna heat up the Chinese food that I had yesterday, my leftovers from yesterday. I will be ending this vlog here. Let me know if you guys like it. I fully plan on watching the entire series, and hopefully you guys want to hear more of my opinion on the series. You know, a little bit more input from someone who is a flight attendant and has lived not a similar life, because I never had experiences like that, but job parallels for sure. So thank you for spending my lazy day with me today and with Lola today. Thanks for watching with us girls. If you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts, or concerns about the show The Flight Attendant or my life as a flight attendant, definitely put those down below for me. Please make sure to leave me a thumbs up for this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any future flight attendant videos. I keep telling you guys I'm flying soon. I'm flying really soon. So my flight attendant day trip video will be out very shortly. Thank you guys for watching. And if you're watching The Flight Attendant, I hope that you guys are enjoying the show. Thanks again.